Iwaihime. Just take me a minute to set it up. And then we'll get started. So, last time we left off, I know the main character tried to help one of the major girls in the story, Toei, and it didn't go too well. Suzumu tried to help Toei, Suzumu Suzuhara, and basically this guy's show is engaged to her, but there's clearly not true love there. At love at first sight or whatever supposedly happened, but it might have just been her parents wanted to marry her off to anybody that took some attention to her. There was a dowry involved, most likely, and that's why she's being, married off to this guy, because her parents are getting compensated for it. Or, excuse me, the other way around. Her parents are compensating this gentleman to take her. But yeah. And then, let's see what else happened. There was that backstory of the blob guy. I forget what his full name was, but it was this boy who always got picked on. He was, chubby, and they used the what's the racist term in Japan? Debu or whatever, which means like piggy or whatever. And so this boy got bullied so much that he turned to the dark magic or whatever, satanic ritual or something, to call on this demon who turned his skin into, welt marks that eventually, when poked and beaten and prodded, just enveloped his whole body and turned him into this slime thing. Ultimately, he gets the crap kicked out of him by the boys, but he's happy to have scared his bullies, even to his death. Then our main protagonist wound up in the shower, and he saw, I can only assume, this boy's ghost with a figurine doll, with the same face as Kurakami Toei. I think it's Kurakami Toei, the dark-haired girl that's in his class. That's kind of creepy. So obviously he's seeing visions that says, I have to save her from this dark side or whatever. So in a second we'll get into this. I'm just going to throw on my stream so I have it in the background, and then we will go. Alright. Let's load. This was the last load point. Yeah, so this was the a-hole that was, he was like beating, I don't know if we'll have a picture of Toei, but he was beating that girl Toei, the dark-haired girl. But she also was sucking his big toe, which is gross. And, she was mad that our protagonist came too late to save her. We don't really know what that even means. How could he have come any earlier? He just met her. But apparently he came too late to save her. Let's continue. That peculiar failing stuck with me, even after Kiko invited me to go to school with her. Was the peculiar failing. The fact that I couldn't get Toei out of my head was similar to unrequited love. But this was different. I knew I had to help her. There was no time left. Not a second. As she said, it was too late. Even so, I had to help her. Why? I don't know. But that emotion was filling my heart. And telling me I had to act as soon as possible. That peculiar feeling stuck with me even after Kiko invited me to school with her. I still couldn't get Kurakami out of my head even after we got here.
Kitagami-san.
Kitagami.
Hi.
Here.
Kinugasa-san.
Kinugasa.
Hi.
Ah.
Kurokami-san. ああ、黒髪さんは欠席の連絡が来てましたね。
Oh, that's right. Kurakami called in absent today. It wasn't rare for Kurakami to be late or even miss homeroom, but even so, she still went to school every day. At the very least, this was the first time anyone had called in to say she'd been absent beforehand.
珍しいね。黒髪さんが欠席なんて。
That's kinda odd. Kurakami's never been absent.
いいんじゃね？どうせ来たって勉強なんかしてねえし。
Who cares? Not like she studies anyway.
松田くん、そういうこと言わないの。
Don't say that out loud, Atsuda.
鈴は黒髪さんにすっかりご就寝ね。
Suzuma's totally hung up on this Kurakami.
いけないかな。
Is something wrong with that?
あんな不吉そうな女に隠れた魅力を見抜いたってことか？
Did you find a hidden appeal in such a scary girl?
さすがスサラ！やっぱりグレートな男だぜ！
Way to go, Susahara. You're a great man.
はあ、もう好きにしたらいい。本当にどうなっても知らないから。
Do whatever you want, but don't come crying to me later.
ハルミヤ、嫉妬は見苦しいぜ。
Jealousy isn't a good look on you, Haremiya.
松田くんは引っ込んでて。
Stay out of this, Itsuda.
そんなに黒髪さんに近づいちゃいけないの？
Is getting involved with Kurakami really so wrong?
知らない。好きにすれば。
I don't care. You do you.
今にきっとなんかバッドなことが起こるからね。勝手に呪われちゃえ。
I'm sure something really bad's gonna happen soon, though. Just go and get cursed for all I care.
大丈夫だよ。お清めなら毎日欠かさないからね。
It's okay. I do my spirit cleansing every day.
鈴む、その肘どうしたの？
Hey, Suzumu, what happened to your elbow? I was getting a little sweaty, so I rolled up my sleeves. Kiko must have noticed my swelling elbow.
どうしたんだろうね。寝違えちゃったのかな。
My elbow? Oh, I slept on it, funny.
痛くないの？
Does your elbow hurt?
やめてよ。触られるとちょっと痛いよ。
Well, yeah, it hurts when you touch it. Could you stop that?
そっちの肘もかばってるようだけど。
It looks like your other elbow is the same way.
昨日の晩からなんとなく痛むんだよ。
My
両肘と
joints...
両膝が。
My joint's been hurting since last night for whatever reason.
呪いだ。
It's a curse.
大げさな。
You're blowing this out of proportion.
黒髪さんの呪いが移ったんだよ。もっとひどくなっても知らないよ。
You caught Kurakami's curse. Don't say I didn't tell you. So if it gets worse, you hear?
大丈夫だよ。放課後になってもまだ痛んだら病院で見てもらうから。
Don't you worry, I'll go see a doctor after school if it still hurts.
どっちかっていうとお祓いだと思うよ。
You'd be better off going to an exorcist if you ask me. Kiko was dead set in her belief Kurakami was a cursed being. I guess it was probably because girls have a thing for the occult. And if all the girls believed that, none of them would help Kurakami. So it really was up to me. That strange sense of urgency was still plaguing me, even at school. I once again wondered if I was in love with Kurakami. And yet again I came to the conclusion that it was a sense of duty instead. But why? Why did I feel this way for a girl I'd never met before? Was it obligation, responsibility, sympathy, pity? No matter how many times I retraced the source of my emotion, it always came back to a baseless sense of duty. Even after lunch had come and gone, I was captured to that emotion of duty. Duty.
だよ。トエのやつ休みかよ。使えね。
The hell? Toei's taking the day off? That worthless bitch. Ugh. He's not looking so hot, huh?
ショウちゃん、大丈夫？
Hey, Sho, you okay, man? That sounds awful. Sho kept hacking and coughing as though he were choking on his own spit. His buddies kept rubbing his back with wry grins until he finally calmed down. Sho wiped his forehead with beads of sweat. He must have really had it rough.
なんか朝から調子悪くてよ。なんか粉っぽいんだよ。
I've been feeling like shit since I got up. Like I got allergies or some shit.
花粉じゃね？今の季節いろいろ飛んでるって言うしさ。
Maybe it's pollen. There's a lot of that going around this season, they say.
知らねえよ。俺花粉なんかじゃねえし。
Hell if I know. Go ask the pollen police. Sho spat in disgust and coughed up phlegm.
なんだよこれ。
What the hell is this? Blech.
うわ、なんだよそれ。めっちゃくれえ。
Holy crap, man. What's that stuff you spit out? It's all black. What Sho had coughed up was neither yellow nor white. It was black as tar. It was the first time he'd ever coughed up something like that. Shocked, he spat again to see if more of the color came up. But what came out this time was the same color as spit as always.
ちくしょう。なんだよな。汚ねえな。
Ugh. The hell is this shit? It's gross. He stomped furiously on the spit.
つうかさ、朝から俺、なんか調子悪いんだよな。
And why the hell I've been feeling like shit all day anyway?
咳だけじゃねえの？熱もあんの？やばくね？
Is it a cough? Or do you have a fever? Are you sure you're okay?
ああ、マジでだるくなってきた。やべえかも。
Ugh. I'm feeling all kinds of exhausted now. Yeah, this might be worse than I thought.
あんな気持ち悪い女に足なんか舐めさせてっから呪われてんだよ。
A creepy chick must have cursed you when she licked your foot. The delinquents laughed crudely. But Sho heard none of it. He was feeling terrible at the moment.
先生に言って午後老けたら
You want to tell teachers you can go home?
つか、横になりてえ。
What a pleasant sound to hear on a stream. Hello, I just want to lay down. Blech. I think he said
ちょっぴり
hell.
だけお熱があるよね。
Seems you have a slight fever.
うっせえ。俺は平熱が低いんだよ。
Bull crap, my normal temperature is just low.
ちょっと横になってみて。様子を見てみましょうね。
Why don't you lie down and let me take a look at you?
2の C だったかしら。先生に連絡しておくわね。
You're in 2C, aren't you? I'll let your teacher know.
マジうぜえよこの席。
Ugh, man, F this cough to hell. Ugh. I'm really curious if this game has routes. Like, and I don't just mean like A, B, C, D. I mean like, you know, choices, and like you can go down, you know, this girl's route or that girl's route, or if it's just one continuous story. Is it no choices? I know, obviously, I think Higurushi had no choices, or at least maybe it had some choices. I know it was episodic, but I think it had true ends. I don't know. I wonder what this game's like. Hina got to shut the curtains once she saw Sho get into bed. Once his coughing subdued slightly, Sho took his hand off his mouth. He found his palm stained black.
なんなんだよ。ちくしょう。
God damn. What the hell? Oops. Though the infirmary bed wasn't all that comfortable, Sho drifted off to sleep as though his consciousness had been swallowed whole. My knees and elbows were still swollen and throbbing, even after school. Oh, I missed a line. So I decided to play it safe and go to the hospital. Iwaimoto Hospital for Medicine Surgery, located just past the Iwaimoto shopping district was grander than I'd expected. Iwaimoto was the name of the neighborhood I lived in. Iwai means celebration, and seeing it around on signs always brightened my day. So although hospitals aren't always the happiest of places, Iwaimoto Hospital seemed friendly enough to me. The hospital was full of the elderly, just like the one where I used to live. I felt a bit guilty for going there for something as trivial as swollen joints. Those more visibly in pain deserve to be here way more than me. Right? Just like that girl. So, the wounds she suffered the other night, the ones that he saved her from when she was a doll, they must have been real. And if he didn't step in and save her, she would have died. She's gonna be pretty happy, I think, to see us. That black-haired girl, it was Kurakami. No mistaking it. She was in a wheelchair with the same doll riding on her lap. But seeing her with her left arm hanging from a sling and her right leg in a cast hurt to watch. It wasn't just those either. Her other limbs were wrapped up in bandages too. For some reason I could sense her knees and elbows hurt just like mine. I faintly remember the world and the nightmare I'd had when I collapsed in the bathroom. Just like me, her joints were snapped by that grotesque blob. Kurakami!
黒髪さんに近寄らない方がいいよ。
You shouldn't get involved with Kurakami. I felt like I heard Kiko's voice amidst the crowd. This is very another, the way we have this dark-haired girl who's being blamed for everything. And then we've got these other bright, happy people that are probably going to end up being the dark ones in the end. And she's just a victim. I felt like I heard Kiko's voice amidst the crowd. Bad things will happen if you get closer to her, I just know it. What was happening to me was what happened to me one of those bad things. Kurakami and I were classmates, so it was inevitable we'd meet in the classroom. But if I struck up a conversation with her here, I'd clearly be approaching her proactively.
きっと良くないことが起こるから。
Bad things will happen if you get close to her. Of course, Kiko wasn't there, but it felt like she was giving me a final warning. Isn't that kind of creepy? Like, maybe Kiko has some weird abilities. If I just kept standing around, she'd probably disappear into the crowd. I still had a chance to stay on this side. Wait, this side? I asked myself exactly what those words that popped in my head meant. Just as Kiko had a sixth sense, so did I. It warned me that if I talked to Kurakami now, there'd be no turning back. Okay, that sounds like a choice. Is it a choice? And we want the bad endings first. So, would the bad ending be to not talk to her? Or would that be the good ending route, because they say you shouldn't talk to her? This is always such a difficult choice. I'm not gonna talk to her if I have the opportunity to pick, because I feel like that's more of a bad end than talking to her. Talking to her seems like that would lead to the good route. But maybe you die immediately if you talk to her. I don't know. This is the only thing I don't like about visual novels. Some visual novels, they make it really easy to know like what the good and bad options are. Or if you pick this one, you die. If you pick this one, you live. Or okay, if you pick this one, you're putting points into this girl. If you pick that one, you're losing points for her. Whereas this kind of choice, it could go either way, And if your character was a little more, if you felt like it was you, it'd be a little easier maybe to make the choice. Or if you felt like the character had a defined personality, you could be like, okay, I think they would go with this. But whereas this is like, I want to pick the bad choice to get the bad ending. And I don't know which one it's gonna be. If there is a choice. Okay, so my sixth sense warned me that if I talk to Kurakami now, there's no turning back. But it's too late for that. She'd already caught my heart. I couldn't turn back anymore. Our destinies were intertwined from the first moment I looked into her eyes. A part of me wanted to save Kiko. Part of me wanted to save Kurakami. Well, another part of me wanted to know why I'd started feeling that way. And the latter was the biggest reason why I couldn't get her out of my mind. Kurakami, just who was she? I wanted to know, and then ask her a question. Who are you, and why do I feel this way about you? I already knew it wasn't something as simple as love. Then was it something sinister, just as the rumors said? Have your eyes cursed me? Is that why I can't take my eyes off you?
黒髪さん
Kurakami. In the end, I acted before I could come up to an answer. She looked somewhat surprised to see me. I'd never seen such a natural reaction from her at school before.
大丈夫その怪我
That looks really bad. Are you okay? She was expressionless as always, but not the same as she was at school. She was obviously surprised to bump into me here, of all places.
どいて
Move. Out of the way.
君はスス校の子か
Who are you? Do you go to Suzu High? The middle-aged man, pushing her wheelchair, scowled at me. The middle-aged man was probably her father.
はい黒髪さんと同じクラスの
Yeah, I'm in Kurakami's class.
トエにみだりに話しかけないでほしい
I don't want you talking to Toei unless you have to. What?
すまないがトエは世俗の汚れに触れてはならぬ大切な身だ
I'm sorry, but she's too important to be corrupted by the filth of this world. If you knew the boy that she's engaged to, you wouldn't be saying this.
年相応の生活をさせたくて学校に行かせてはいるが汚れに染まることは許されない
I let her go to school because I want her to live like others her age, but I can't allow her to be corrupted. I couldn't think of anything to say. It was the first time anyone said something like that to me, and I didn't know whether to be angry or hurt.
お前は
You're
いつも
always
遅い
late? Oh.
トエ無理に喋るな
Toei, don't push yourself. And she said,
消えろお前の汚れが
Go away.
苦しい
Your corruption. It hurts.
はい父上
Yes, father.
すまないな君厳しい言葉は謝る
My apologies, young man. I shouldn't have been as harsh with you.
いえこちらこそすみません
What are you apologizing for, dude? No, I'm the one who's sorry.
君が謝ることは何もない
You don't got a thing to apologize for.
トエを案じてくれるならただ遠くからそっと見守ってほしい
If you're concerned about Toei, then please watch Toei from a distance.
でも
But something's tormenting her. I wanted to say, but her father stopped me before I could.
二度とトエに話しかけないでほしい
I don't want you talking to Toei ever again.
君に悪気がなくともそれはこの子を苦しめる
Even if you don't hold any ill intent, all that it will bring is her suffering. Normally, someone my age would have no choice but to back down without a word after being told off by an adult like that. However, there was something in me that just couldn't accept it. So I stood my ground.
でも
But
彼女は苦しんでるんです
she's suffering.
僕はそれに気づいてしまったから
I can't ignore her now that
彼女を
I...
無視できないんです
Sorry, I can't ignore her now that I've realized. Toei's father fell silent. That was a sign he was aware of her torment.
世俗の汚れから遠ざける必要があるならばどうして上沼くんを許嫁などに選んだんですか
Thank you. I thought this game was gonna have him not say anything and be polite and let this father walk out the door without at least saying this. Even if he's gonna come up with some bullshit, it's at least good to see he addressed this. because this needs to be addressed. If she needs to be kept away from the filth of the world, then why did you choose Kamenuma as her fiancé?
お前の知ったことではない。
Yeah, his is bullshit. It's none of your concern.
黒髪さんが心から選んだ男性だなんて僕には到底信じられません。
I just can't believe she'd ever want to be with him. You're too late. Those words replayed in my mind once more. Perhaps she meant she'd been forced to bear this fate because no one had noticed her suffering sooner. I wasn't sure about that, but there was no doubt she was suffering greatly. There was no way she could be happy, being treated like a pet by the fiancé she didn't even love. If the rumors Natsu told me were true yesterday, was hardly the first time Kamenuma had been so rough with her. Just by looking at her and her father, it was easy to imagine she was from a strict family, where she was in no position to oppose him.
都への言い名付けは私が決める。お前の知ったことではない。
It's my choice who Toe marries. It's none of your concern.
いいえ、あなたの知ったことでもありません。
No, it's none of yours either.
何？
What?
黒髪さんの人生は黒髪さんが自分で決めます。
Toei Kurakami's life is hers to decide.
確かに彼女は未成年です。あなたの保護下にあるべきでしょう。
I understand she's minor. She should indeed be living under your care.
でも未成年を終えての未来は全て彼女のものです。
But when she comes of age, her future is her own to decide.
たとえ父親であろうとも彼女の人生の全てを束縛する権利なんてないんです。
You might be your father, but you don't have the right to keep her completely tied down. Toei's father hadn't expected a child his daughter's age to talk back to him like this. He appeared stunned, more than angry.
黒髪さん、僕はひょっとしたら全然的外れなことを言ってるかもしれない。
Kurakami, maybe everything I'm saying is off the mark, but...
でも君が苦しんでいてそれを手遅れに思っていることは知ってる。
I know you're suffering, and you think it's too late to do anything about it.
でもこれだけは的外れじゃなく
And there's one thing I can say for
断言できるよ。
sure.
何？
What's that?
遅すぎることなんて
It's
あるもん
never,
か。
it's never too late.
僕が黒髪さんの力になれるかどうかわからないけど
I don't know if I could be of any help to you. Sorry. Ah,
遅すぎることなんてあるもんか。
I don't know if I can be of any help to you.
僕はいつでも味方になるから。
But I'll always be on your side.
それだけは信じて。
You can count on that, if nothing else.
黒髪さんのお父さん、いろいろと生意気を言ってすみませんでした。
Mr. Kurakami, I apologize for speaking out of turn.
それでは失礼します。黒髪さん、お大事に。
Pardon me then. Kurakami-san, I hope you get well soon.
早く。
Hurry? Just... Just go already. Kurakami held her head, biting her lower lip. I didn't know what she was feeling, but my words had definitely gotten to her. And I believed that would save her. I believed those words would save her, or at least serve as the spark for her salvation.
君とはもう話したくない。道を開けてくれ。
I don't want to say another word to you. Move out of the way.
すみません。
Sorry.
行くぞ、トエ。
Let's go, Toei.
はい。
Yes. Toei's father gently pushed the wheelchair past me, only for his daughter to look back at me at that very moment. Her eyes were damp with tears.
鈴原。
Suzuhara. She reached her trembling hand out to me.
トエ。
鈴原。
Suzuhara. Aww. The look in her moist eyes implored me to at least take her hand, and so I did. I wanted to grant her wish, and I didn't need words to do so.
鈴黒髪さんには近づいちゃダメ。
Ah, Who cares? You shouldn't get involved with Kurakami, Suzumu. Why shouldn't I, Kiko? She needs help, so why shouldn't I? The moment our hands touched, time itself seemed to grind to a halt. The world was frozen in place, almost like the TV known as life had suddenly broken. But the girl before me was real, and so was the warmth of her hand. In fact, this world seemed more like reality. After all, her eyes had life to them in this world. Enough to make me question if the days up until now were just a daydream. That's just how vivid they were. Kurakami shed warm tears, and she spoke. Her words were clear and had a deliberate weight to them.
ありがとう、鈴原。
Thank you, Suzuhara.
こちらこそありがとう。
No, I should be thanking you. For what?
心を開いてくれてありがとう。
I'm glad you opened your heart to me.
開けなかった。開いてはいけなかったから。
I couldn't open it because I couldn't afford to open it. Kurakami stood up, staggering on her cast-encased foot. She walked over to me until our chests were practically touching, and she looked up at me. This is pretty cool. That she's got, like, a unique sprite for, when she's in the casts. Let's save here so we have this. And let's save a second time just so we always have it. That's pretty cool, I think. Alright, she walked over to me until our chests were practically touching, and she looked up at me.
お前がいけないんだから。
This is your fault.
お前が泣いてもいいって
Because you told
言
me
ったから。
I could cry. Yeah.
ちゃんと聞こえていたんだね。
So you heard that, huh? I hadn't said it aloud, but it had reached her.
私
I.
泣くからな。
I'm gonna cry now.
お前は何も意味なんかわからなくていいから。
You don't have to understand.
ただ黙って。お前は私に泣かれてろ。
Just stand there and let me cry, okay? With that word, she gently plunged into my arms. And as she softly clawed at my chest, she burst into tears. I said nothing and let her sob.
遅すぎる。遅すぎる。
You're late. You're too late.
どれくらい遅すぎたのかな。
Just how late am I anyway?
10年遅い。
You're 10 years too late. I see. Let's go back in time. No, 100 years too late. 1,000 years too late.
そんなに遅くて。
Sorry. I keep skipping over lines.
いや、100年遅い。1000年遅い。
100 years too late. 1,000 years too late. I really am sorry for being so late.
お前が悪い。全部悪い。
It's... Aw. It's your fault. It's all your fault. I didn't understand a single word she was saying, but I figured allowing her to let it all out would help. She screamed and poured her heart out until she finally calmed down. But then, the world around them? I finally noticed the abnormality of the situation. For a hospital lobby full of people, it was too quiet, almost like the place was closed. Though there were still many people there, they gave off no sign of life. Apart from Kurakami, I couldn't hear any of them breathing. Furthermore, the lobby that had been so bright and clean was now enveloped in darkness. Like it was after visiting hours, where the emergency and nightlight served as the only illumination. And since... when was it nighttime? Everything outside was dark, like the windows and glass doors had been painted over with ink. It wasn't ordinary darkness either. No matter how late it was, there should have been many streetlights shining brightly. Yet there wasn't a single trace of light. When had we been brought to this place?
これは
What exactly is this?
また取り込まれたか。
So we've been brought in again.
また
Again? Kurakami's face was still stricken with tears, but she'd already regained her composure. Strangely enough, she didn't seem the least bit perturbed by this abnormal, no, this ominous scene.
気にしなくていい。
You don't have to worry about it.
気にしなくて
Are you being serious?
無視していればそのうち。
Yeah, if you ignore it, it'll end eventually. Kurakami spoke apathetically, as though she expected the power to be restored any minute. She found an empty space in the nearly full sofa and sat down. Let's save. I thought there was a way to get rid of the text, you know, if you clicked a certain way. But, I can't seem to. She found an empty space on the nearly full sofa and sat down.
座りなさいよ。
Have a seat. Have a seat.
突っ立っていられるとこっちまで疲れてくる。
If you keep standing around, you'll make me tired too. Okay, but you're sitting next to some creepy thing. Though there were many sofas lying around in the lobby, they were all packed. Oh my god, look at these things. I was unable to find a seat and was at a loss for what to do when Kurakami noticed my plight.
おう、気が利かなくてごめんなさい。
Oh, I should have noticed. Sorry for being so inconsiderate. Kurakami pushed away the person sitting next to her. And when they hit the ground, they just crumbled apart. Quite literally. As it turned out, it wasn't a person lying at my feet, it was a ball-jointed doll. I looked around upon this realization and noticed that every last person in the packed room, apart from us, was turned into a ball-jointed doll. Even Kurakami's father had turned into one of those dolls, still holding his daughter's wheelchair in the exact same pose as before. She should have been shocked to see her father turn into a doll. Yet she paid it no heed. I quietly took the seat next to Kurakami, as if waiting my turn in line. In all honesty, I wanted to scream from the incomprehensible terror of it all. But oddly enough, seeing her remaining absolutely calm amidst this madness allowed me to keep my calm for some reason. Of course, she could have been bluffing.
その怪我はどうしたの
So how did you get so banged up?
ここまでひどいことは初めて。
This is the first time it's been this bad.
どういう意味
What do you mean?
言葉通りよ。
Exactly what I said.
意味なんてわからなくていい。お前は黙ってうなずいていればいい。
You don't have to understand, just smile and nod. Yeah, I feel like she's getting beat by her dad or something. Like the ghost thing is just gonna be not a cover or whatever, but just like an imagining of what's actually going on in reality. I don't know. We'll find out.
どうせその程度の役にしか立たないのだから。
Smile and nod. That's about all you're good for anyway.
見くびられたくないな。これでも男のつもりなんだけどな。
You should put more stock in me. Maybe I don't look it, but I am a man after all.
ひ弱そうなくせに。
You look really feeble though.
こう見えてね。鍛えてるんだ。
On the outside maybe, but I train.
家が武道の道場をやっててね。小さい頃からずっと修行させられてた。
My family runs a dojo, you see. I've been practicing since I was little.
喧嘩の自信はないけど、腕相撲なら 大人が相手でも負ける気はしないかな。
I don't know how I'd fare in a fight, but in arm wrestling? Nah, I doubt even an adult could beat me.
意外。力自慢とは。
I'm surprised. I didn't take you for a braggart.
自慢じゃないよ。冷静に自分の力を理解してるだけだよ。
I'm not. I just know my own strength is all.
謙虚が過ぎるのはかえって嫌味になることもあると思ってる。
Being too modest can come off as even worse.
どんな修行を？
So what kind of training do you do?
木に藁を巻いて拳で打ったりとか。うちの道場は正拳突きしかやらないんだよ。
I punch trees wrapped in straw. Our dojo only focuses on straight punches.
空手はよくわからない。
I'm not that familiar with karate.
すす原流親善武術って言って似てはいるけど空手とは全く別物なんだ。
The Suzuhara Divine Tribute style has some similarities to karate, but they're completely different styles.
興味ない。どうせいくら鍛えたところで。
I don't really care. Doesn't matter how much you train anyway.
お前に打ち砕けるものなど
You can't
何もない。
break anything.
何を打ち砕いてほしいの？
What do you want broken? You said I can't break anything. Well, what would need breaking?
黒髪さんが何かを打ち砕いてほしいと思ってる。それは分かったから。
It really sounds like you want something broken. I get that much.
教えてくれないかい？
Could you tell me what it is?
君は遅すぎると言っているけれど、ひょっとしたら僕には間に合うことかもしれないよ。
You say I'm too late, but maybe I've made it just on time, actually.
10年遅い。100年遅い。1000年遅い。
You're 10 years too late, 100 years too late, 1,000 years too late. Her laughter was not of delight, but resignation.
無駄だ。
It's pointless.
やってみなきゃ分からないよ。
I won't know unless I try.
お前は藁を巻いた木を打つと言った。その木をお前は拳で倒すことができるというのか。
You said you punch trees wrapped in straw. Are you claiming you can knock one over with your fist?
その気持ちで打っているけどね。
That's the idea during training, at least.
木ごときで遅れを取るひ弱に頼れることなどない。
I can't rely on a man weaker than a tree.
拳でどうこうできる問題じゃないってことだよね。
Are you saying it's something that can't be solved with fists?
そろそろ話してくれてもいいんじゃないかな。
You can talk to me now, right?
話すだけなら何も黒髪さんは失うことなんてないと思うけどな。
I don't think you got anything to lose just by talking about it.
拳でどうにかなるかもしれん問題だ。
Maybe fists can do something about it.
誰かを殴れって話？
So you do want me to punch somebody?
木を倒すよりは簡単そうだけどな。
That'd be easier than knocking down a tree, at least.
木すら倒せぬお前に聖堂の壁が打ち破れるか。
Can someone who can't even knock over a tree break something made of bronze?
聖堂、厚さは？
Bronze? How thick are we talking?
さあ、お前の拳の幅くらいはあるかもな。
Who knows? Perhaps as thick as your fist.
さすがに無理だよ。そんな厚さの合金の壁を破るなんて。拳じゃなくて大砲の出番だと思うな。
Yeah, I probably couldn't pull that off. That sounds like a job for a cannon. Kurakami laughs with resignation as if to say, I told you so.
でも
However,
黒髪さんがそれを打ち破られることで救われるなら
if breaking that bronze will save you,
僕はもっと修行を積んで
I'd train some more.
いつか必ずそれを僕の拳で打ち破ってみせると。
And I'll break that thing with my
約束するよ。
fist. Someday. I swear it.
その修行どれだけかかるやら。
And how long do you think that training will take?
そうだね。その意味では確かに黒髪さんの言う通りだね。遅すぎる。
Good question. In that sense, it may be too late, just as you said.
10年、100年、いや、1000年は修行しないとダメかもしれないよ。
Good question.
でも、
Might take 100 years, 1,000 years, but even so.
それでも僕が必ずそれを打ち破って黒髪さんを助け出すって
I'm gonna
約
break
束するよ。
I'm gonna break that thing and save you. I promise. Even I was surprised that by that. I never said anything so gallant before. It must have been the baseless sense of duty talking. The more I talked with her, the stronger it got. But I didn't care where it came from. It didn't matter whether it was love, duty, or a curse, like Kiko suggested.
僕は必ず君を助け出す。
I swear I'll save you.
黒髪さんにとって僕は遅すぎたそうだけど、
Maybe you think I'm too late,
その壁すらも必ず打ち破ってやるって。
but I'll break that thing
約束するよ。
someday.
もう遅すぎるのに。
Even though it's too late?
何も遅すぎるもんか。僕はここにいて、黒髪さんはここにいる。
It's never too late. I'm here, and so are you.
遅いも早いも関係ない。僕が助ける。
I'll save you, whether I'm late or early.
鈴原。
We're gonna keep going, because I'm feeling pretty good. You know, I'll play just a little more, though. When I, if at some point I feel like stopping, I'll stop. Even in the middle of a scene. So, at the moment, the silence was shattered by a ghastly roar. A visceral roar that shook the pit of my very stomach. The ground trembled as I heard something slimy and gooey approaching us.
なんだろう。ちょっと見てくるよ。
What was that? I'm gonna take a look.
どうせろくなものじゃない。
You won't like it either way. She was probably right. Whatever that thing was, I needed to know if it posed us any threats. Wasn't it? What I really wanted to know was what in the world this place was, and whether I was still sane or not. It howled ominously again, and then I remembered exactly what it was. The piles of trembling meat as they gave off a rancid stench straight out of a sewer. It was the airy giant blob that had broken me and Kurakami's limbs. It was bulging far more repulsively than it had back in the bath. The blob squirmed where it stood, filling the stairwell. It was as tall as the ceiling itself. Despite that, it pulsated slowly, but surely pushed its way down the stairs. That nightmare had come back to life with a vengeance. It was searching. That blob was searching for us. Though it was struggling to fit through the stairwell, it wouldn't be long until it got through. And once it did, there'd be nothing to stop the blob. The lobby ceiling was too high to impede the blob. We had to run. Back in the nightmare, my sense of fear was numbed. It just hadn't felt real enough to warrant it. But this was a different story. The terror was more than ever present. My legs trembled in fright at the horror before me. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't fight back. However, I knew I couldn't stay here. I need to get out of here as soon as possible. No, wait, not just me. I have to take Kurakami with me.
肉。
The meat.
黒髪さんは覚えてない。悪夢の中であいつにその手足を折られたんだよ。
Don't you remember, Kurakami? That's the thing that broke your arms and legs in the nightmare.
Kurokami-san?
Kurakami? Her eyes are going dead. We'd been having a normal conversation just a minute ago. But now it was like she'd been tuned to a different radio station. Kurakami's eyes were dull and devoid of life again.
とにかくここにいちゃまずい。逃げよう。
Anyway, we can't stay here. We gotta run. Go. This was bad. She didn't understand what was happening here. She was spacing out like in class every day. But I couldn't just ignore her. That blob would never pass up on a toy like her.
ごめんね。ちょっと痛いかもしれないよ。
I'm sorry. This might hurt, but... I grabbed her arm and tried to lift her up. When I did, her cast caught on the doll sitting next to her, and we lost our balance. Oh...
ごめん、痛くなかった。
I'm sorry, are you okay? That was a stupid question. She was in no state of mind to communicate after all. But the moment I thought that, the faintest hint of light returned to her eyes. Yeah, I remember seeing this CG somewhere. Like maybe when I was looking this game up originally. The moment I thought that, the faintest hint of light returned to her eyes. Kurakami was lying on top of me, her face just a hair's breadth away from my nose and eyes.
黒髪さん。
Kurakami. Her sweet breath tickled my nose, and then she kissed me right on the lips. She tried prying my lips open with her warm tongue. Oh no.
黒髪さん。
Uh-oh. I knew this situation was far from normal. A devilish little whisper inside me was telling me to give in to my carnal instincts. Her breath, it was all so enticing, but I couldn't. This wasn't the time for this, but I...
お前に会えて嬉しい。嬉しい。
Suzuhara, I'm so glad I met you.
遅くてもいい。こうして今があるならどうでもいい。
I don't care if you're late. All that matters is that you're here.
正気に戻って。今はこんなことしてる場合じゃ。
Snap out of it. We don't have time for this.
鈴原鈴原レジレジ
Suzuhara, I'm so happy.
愛して
Love me.
お願い
Please.
愛して愛して鈴原
Love me, Suzuhara.
今目って。
Yeah, please.
黒髪さん。
Kurakami clung to me like a snake. The cast on her left leg fell off, but she paid no heed to it. Her face and breath became a sweet poison that invaded my brain. All my blood vessels were aching, urging me to give in to the alluring temptation.
黒髪。
愛して愛して愛して
Love me, love me, love me.
愛して愛して愛してよ鈴原愛が欲しいの赤ちゃん欲しい
Uh-oh. You better get out of there quick. Love me, Suzuhara. I want your love. I want your child.
鈴原の愛
I felt like a fly caught in a spider's web. Kurakami preyed on me as she moaned on about love. My veins were throbbing in anticipation for pleasure yet to come. I couldn't fight back the desire screaming in me to give in to her. All of a sudden, there was an unpleasant laugh. The moment she heard it, Kurakami froze completely. She raised her upper half to find out who'd laughed. No, judging by her face, she must have already known who it was. She looked like a kid who'd been caught with her hand in the cookie jar.
今度は鈴原とイチャついてるトエが登場とはよ。
So now, Toei shows up flirting with Suzuhara, huh?
どこまでもイラつかせてくれるぜ、この夢はよ。
This dream keeps finding new ways to piss me off. Kaminuma laughed, an unstable look in his eyes.
よう、鈴原。面食らってるみてえだな。
Hey there, Suzuhara, you sure look confused.
亀沼くん
Kaminuma.
イカれてるだろ、その女。
This chick's screwed in the head.
男と見たら誰でも欲しがる。とんでもねえイカれ女よ。
She's so messed up, she wants any guy she sees.
翔様。
Sir Show.
違うんです。私には翔様だけなんです。
You got it all wrong, Show. You're the only one for me.
男なら誰でもいいくせによ。
Ugh, you'll say that to anybody.
てめえは女じゃねえ。犬だ。メスなんだよ。
Ugh. You're just like a dog. Dog in heat. Maybe there was some truth to what he said. After all, Kurakami was clinging to Kaminuma's leg like a dog, and she kept coming back no matter how many times he kicked her. The pitiful sight was exactly like watching a dog begging its master for scraps.
翔様の愛をお恵みください。
Grace me with your love, Sir Show. You spewed the same crap to Suzuhara just now, didn't you?
なあ、鈴原。そうなんだろ。そうなんだよな。
That's right, isn't it, Suzuhara? Suzuhara. I couldn't think of anything to say to that. The whole thing had lost all sense of reality, resembling something straight out of a nightmare. Yes, that had to be it. This was just all some horrible dream, wasn't it? The continuation of the nightmare I'd had back in the bathroom. As soon as I realized that, the whole scenery seemed to warp violently.
翔様じゃないとダメなんです。
Please, Sir Show, it has to be you.
翔様の赤ちゃん作りたい。
She's baby crazy. I want to have your child.
うるせえメス犬。誰かで構わず浴場しやがって。
Shut up. You'll jump anything that moves.
犬なら犬らしくキャンキャン吠えろ。人間様の言葉で喋るんじゃねえ。
Just bark like the dog you are. How dare you try to speak like a human?
翔様。
I didn't understand Kurakami anymore. I thought I did just a little while ago, but was that all part of the nightmare? The slimy, grotesque blob showed itself. It had finally made its way down the stairs and headed our way. The blob had terrified me just a minute ago, but that all suddenly seemed worlds away. Right, because this was all a dream. A bad dream, that was all.
今度はなんだ？ブヨブヨした化け物の登場かよ。
What now, a big monster? Really?
これならさっきの女幽霊みたいなやつの方が多少はマシだぜ。
Come on, that ghost lady from before was way creepier. It seemed Kaminuma was already fully aware of this nightmare. He wasn't fazed by the creepy giant blob in the slightest, rather he was downright amused by its bizarre appearance. Kurakami was now completely focused on Shosan. She moaned obscenely as she kept clinging to his leg. The more I saw that, the stupider I felt for ever being scared in this situation.
たくしつこいね、あんたも。
Tch, you're as persistent as the rest of these things. Kaminuma shrugged off Kurakami as he hurled obscenities at her. I raised my head to see who he was talking to and realized a sinister shadow had appeared unnoticed. It was dark as a void, but it had long hair that reached its feet, giving it the appearance of a woman. Withered branches spread out of its head like horns.
亀沼君逃げないと
Kaminuma, run for it!
俺はもう逃げ回るのに疲れちまったんだよ。
I've had enough of running around already.
どうせ夢の中じゃねえか。ならいっそスカッと終わらせてもらいたいもんだぜ。
This is all just a dream anyway. Might as well put an end to it right here and now. Kaminuma spread his arms and waited for her. The foreboding shadow also spread its arms and grabbed him. Kaminuma tried to act tough, but the pain won over in the end. You might not want to look at the screen right now. I clearly heard the sound of a withered branch breaking. A moment later, Kaminuma's upper half vanished like a decayed tree and collapsed. Let's just hear his, if I can pull it up. If I can pull up my mouse. There it is. Let's hear his dying screams. A moment later, Kaminuma's upper half vanished like a decayed tree, collapsed backward with a visceral splash. His head, arms, elbows, all smashed into pieces on the floor and scattered into chunks, but his legs remained standing. Despite that, Kurakami just kept clinging to his legs. I felt no fear. I'd already grown numb to such emotion. All I could do was laugh. I couldn't think of any other way to express what I was feeling. Go.
違うよ、鈴原。
No, that's not it, Suzuhara. Kurakami turned to me as though she didn't notice the shadow that had so brutally killed Kaminuma. It seemed she'd already lost interest in the scattered pieces that used to be Kaminuma. The change in her behavior was far more terrifying than the monster.
私にはお前しかいないんだ。
You're all I have.
お前をずっと待っていたんだから。
I've waited for you for so long.
本当に
I mean
待
it.
っていた。
I've been waiting. Waiting.
わからないよ
Wakaranai-yo. I don't get you at all.
僕にはもう本当に黒髪さんがわからないよ
I just don't get you anymore, Kurakami. Still lying on my backside, I scooted away from Kurakami as she slithered toward me. The sight must have been quite saddening for her. Her eyes welled with tears and warped with sorrow. But I couldn't accept her. All I was capable of at that point was laughing in disbelief. Just then, the female shadow, its arms spread wide, lunged toward me. Suzuhara. I think this does have routes. Because I think I might have seen... I know they said don't look up the CGs, but I think I might have seen them before. Because that, like, tree spirit girl, I think I've seen her before. And obviously, I know I've seen the Kurakami, like... She almost looks like vampiric or something. Or demonic, I don't know. That when she was, you know, over him and, like succubus-esque, I guess.
お前だけを信じて今日まで耐えてきたのに
Please, you gotta believe me. I've resisted it all this time. Her suggestive words were all nonsense. I was a fool for ever thinking there was some kind of mysterious fate at play, and falling for her spell.
黒髪さんなんているわけもない
Someone like you couldn't possibly know me. How does he go from being all about, like, fate, I'm fated to save you. To, like, you know, she clearly has something going on wrong in the head. You know, like, something, this is not the true her. Or at least earlier it wasn't. It might be now, I don't know. But, like, he doesn't see that, like, okay, you literally were just ready to support her, and now you don't?
僕たちはつい先日初めて言葉を交わしたばかりの赤の
We're strangers that talked for the first time yesterday.
僕たちの間にどんな運命が
We got no bond, no
絆
destiny.
があったって言うんだ
Suzuhara.
ないんだよ何にもないなのに僕はどうして黒髪さんに関わってしまったんだ
There's nothing there. So why? Why did I ever get involved with you? It was just as Kiko had said. I should have never gotten involved with this insane girl. Ha! So that's why all this insane stuff is happening.
私をそんな悲しい目で
Don't give me that sad
見な
look.
いで
黒髪さんこそ
Pah, I could ask the same of you, Kurakami.
どうして僕をそんな悲しい目で見るんだよ
Why are you giving me that sad look?
僕にはもうさっぱり意味がわからないんだよ
I don't understand it all anymore. The quivering blob was right behind me, with the sinister shadow that pulverized Kaminuma right before me. Meanwhile, Kurakami was clinging to my leg. The blob would twist my neck with its hairy arm-shaped lumps, while the shadow would fall upon me. It's like I got a choice between Scylla and Charybdis now, huh? Which would kill me, the blob, the shadow? No, it was definitely Kurakami. Just then the shadow and the blob started fighting over me. Let's save again. Kurakami kept babbling nonsense as she gazed seductively at me. All I could do was keep laughing dryly, as if it was the funniest thing in the world. However, my heart ached yet again at the sight of her moist eyes. All of a sudden I heard a death cry, so the blob died. The fleshy blob descended upon me and smashed my head to bits. It seemed the monster's fight was over. Ha ha ha. I felt just like Kaminuma. This was all just some repulsive nightmare anyway. So I wanted it to end as soon as possible. Ha 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 ha. Okay, let's save. I don't know if I want to quit here. I probably should. So I will quit out here, and next time I will cover whatever happens after this point. Hopefully, you know, we can make some more progress towards maybe getting to a choice. Because I think there are choices. I think that girl, the other girl we saw in the dream is a possible love interest. I think Kurakami is a possible love interest. Obviously, I would think Kiko is a possible love interest, but I don't know. There hasn't been any choices so far, so maybe there's none. Maybe it's just a straight story, you know? But I get the feeling there could be some choices coming up. So next time, we will continue this. Bye-bye.